To support my foster sis, Ashley, we married into the same family. She married Jason, the heir to the Song family. I married the heir, his dad. Not long after the wedding, Jason's white moonlight, the girl he always longed for, came back. Ashley ran to me in tears, seeking help. Emmy, I want a divorce. I don't want to be the third wheel in a relationship. I nodded. If you want a divorce, sis, let's get one. I had just mentioned this to Jason's dad when I heard that Jason had been beaten and sent to the hospital. His dad allowed him to rest for half a day, then told him to come back and get beaten some more that night. If you make my wife run away, I'll skin you alive. My foster sis is a delicate socialite, and I'm a hoodlum. I grew up in Oak Grove Orphanage. The billionaire thought his daughter was too lonely, so he planned to adopt a girl from the Oak Grove Orphanage to keep her company. All the little girls dressed themselves up neatly and cleanly. I was the only one who was different. I had just hunted down a little fatty from the Oak Grove Orphanage who stole my chicken drumstick. I forgot that the director said VIPs were coming, and I dragged the little fatty into the dorm and beat him up. After the fight, I felt something was wrong. It seemed like many eyes were watching me. I looked up, and the director awkwardly opened her mouth. This little girl isn't usually like this. She's usually very good, obedient, and delicate. I smiled, punched the little fatty again, snatched a dinner roll from him, and stuffed it into my mouth, ready to leave. But I was stopped. The delicate little girl standing next to the billionaire grabbed my hand. I wanted to pull away, but she burst into tears. Me? Touching porcelain from afar? Implying she was setting me up. Alarms went off in my head, and countless curse words were about to spill out of my mouth, but then I heard her say, "This sister is so pitiful. She hits people so hard, just for a dinner roll. Are you looking down on this dinner roll? It can keep me from being hungry, damn it." I wanted to stuff the dinner roll into her mouth, but seeing her teary-eyed, I really couldn't bring myself to do it. And that's how she took me back with her. And I became her #1 attack dog. So, someone didn't believe it, and actually deliberately spilled red wine on her evening gown, and even mocked her for being blind. Sis explained, and that person retorted, making Sis's eyes fill with tears. I bared my teeth, waved to the waiter, took the wine tray from her hand, and smashed it directly on that person. The woman glared at me angrily. I clapped my hands and smiled wantonly. "I'm so sorry. I'm also blind. How about I dig out your eyeballs and put them on myself?" I became famous in one battle, and my name as a mad dog was unique in the circle. Dad wanted a business marriage, and Sis was getting married. I watched as the cabbage I had protected for more than 10 years was directly married off to Jason, the heir to the Song family, by my foster father. I originally thought that foster father had opened his eyes and wanted my sis to continue living a good life. But as a result, Ashley came back crying a few days later. "Emmy, I'm not going back. He wants to bring his white moonlight back and have me take care of her. That white moonlight seems to be pregnant too, wah." Foster mother hugged Ashley, her face also full of sorrow. Foster father couldn't help but sigh. "If I had known he was like this, I would have lost hundreds of millions rather than cooperate with him, but now I've put all my money in that project. If I take it out, our home will go bankrupt." He secretly looked at me, his voice with a hint of negotiation. "Emmy, why don't you persuade your sis first? Let's just bear with it for now." "Bear with your ass." I slammed the table and stood up, looking fierce, my teeth grinding creakily. "Oh, sis, get ready. Your sister is going to be your stepmo." There. I smiled sinisterly, my white teeth extremely bright in the night, making people feel a chill. Ashley hugged foster mother, trembling. Foster father hugged the two of them, trembling. I spat 3 times. "What are you thinking? I'm going to be Jason's stepmother. Jason, the reason he can become the all-powerful figure in the Song family now is because he has a good father. If he is the heir, Robert, Bob, is the emperor. If my Ashley were living well in the Song family, I, this rogue, would be living a quiet life at home, content in my little corner. But Jason has to be so pure-hearted. He wants to put his white moonlight and his properly married wife together. Then I'm going to make trouble. I've known Robert, Bob, for a long time. And we have some interaction. He said he knew a honey/babe from my Oak Grove orphanage. He said he was asked to take care of me. From college until now, I've received a lot of help from him, but in the end, his care and help have become a little strange. Until one time, he took out a ring and offered it to me. This ring originally belonged to him. He said he promised you when you were little that he would marry you. But there's no chance. But I do. Can you give me a chance to take care of you? I refused directly. I smiled and shook my head. Sorry, I don't want to be a mother without the pain. After that, I didn't go to him for a long time. I wanted to distance myself. This time, I took the initiative and stopped Robert, Bob, who had just left the celebration banquet. I directly stated my request. Mr. Song, I want to be a mother without the pain. Do you have a position there? I still remember Robert, Bob's expression at the time, happy with a hint of helplessness. Robert, Bob, has never been married. His only son was brought back from who knows where. The relationship between father and son is very subtle. They rarely appear together on the same occasion. The first time I saw them appear together was when Robert, Bob, and I had just gotten our marriage license. He looked at me with a fake smile. Dad, aren't you supposed to be a player, never settling down with one woman? How did you suddenly get stuck with a weed? It's all thanks to your son, causing unrest at home, filial piety to the extreme. But I advise you to get rid of that weed in your home as soon as possible. If you piss off the one I'm with and she runs away, I will disown you. Jason froze on the spot. He felt the murderous intent in Robert, Bob's words. I don't know why Robert, Bob, was suddenly so serious. It's all thanks to me. Who asked me to be such a good teacher, often discussing romance novels about winning back a lost love with him? Honey/babe, why do you think men always have to chase their wives in the end? Only after the real wife runs away do they regret chasing after love. Robert, Bob's ears and even his neck were a little red. I don't know if it was because of the whiskey/vodka. He naturally put his arm around my waist and answered my question. Maybe it's because he's kind. He wants to torture himself. My lips twitched, and I turned to another book, a very famous sister-wives story, recently. Honey/babe, this article is awesome. Two sisters who married into the same family were unhappy after their marriages and then divorced together. Two men chased after their wives. What do you think, honey/babe? Robert, Bob's expression changed instantly. Those two men deserve it. They didn't cherish the wives they married at home properly, but only saw the ones outside. They don't deserve sympathy. Even if the wives don't come back in the end, they deserve it. He hugged my waist tighter and said in a slightly ingratiating voice, Honey/babe, you won't take your sister and cause a divorce, will you? I looked at him with a fake smile, and hammered his mouth with my little hand. Who knows? But this sentence seemed to touch some nerve in him. He suddenly picked me up and walked directly to the bedroom. While walking, he was still muttering, You little ungrateful thing, you forgot about your honey/babe once you had your sister. Don't call me honey/babe, call me honey/babe. Who the hell are you pretending to be young for? Who's your honey/babe? The curse words I wanted to blurt out were blocked, and I didn't sleep all night. When I woke up, I covered my waist and just wanted to curse. Who the hell told me that Robert, Bob, doesn't get close to women? If this isn't getting close to women, then I can already shave my head and become a nun. He gently massaged my shoulders and pleaded softly, I was too rough yesterday, don't be angry. And don't think about divorce. Do whatever you want in the future. If Jason is useless, you, his little stepmother, can discipline him as you see fit. But don't divorce me for your sister's sake. With Robert, Bob's words, I won't be polite. But I'm not the kind of person who looks for trouble for no reason. As long as Ashley doesn't cry, I'm happy to get along with Jason harmoniously. Unfortunately, Jason likes to meet difficulties head-on. Emmy, I didn't push Ms. Sophia. I don't know why she fell. Ashley ran to me crying. I rubbed my sore waist and looked at the crowd behind her. Jason took the lead, his voice cold. If it wasn't you, who else could it be? It's a good thing Sophia wasn't hurt. If something had happened, were you planning to pay with your life? In his eyes, Ashley was simply the embodiment of a poisonous woman. If it wasn't for me being there, he would have eaten my sister's heart. His white moonlight gently hooked his hand after he vented, and comforted him softly. Honey/babe Jason, it's just that your sister-in-law is angry that you've been running to me lately, that's why she had a conflict with me. Don't be angry. Besides, the doctor also said that nothing happened to the baby in my belly, so don't be angry with your sister-in-law because of this. Jason lowered his eyes and spat out a few words through gritted teeth. If you want me not to be angry, Ashley, you come over and apologize to Sophia. Swear that you won't appear within half a meter of Sophia in the future, and I'll forgive you. Ashley pursed her lips with an expression of greater sorrow than heartache. She was just about to speak when I pulled her behind me. I turned back and glared at her, then turned to look at that white moonlight. Sophia looked very delicate. Compared to my sister's mature and domineering style, she was more likely to attract men's pity, and she was more able to capture the hearts of dogmen. Looking at Jason's appearance, he would count the money for her even if he was sold. Her methods were undeniably high. I took 2 steps forward, a flattering smile on my face, facing Sophia directly. This is Sophia, right? I often hear my stepson mention you. You're as beautiful as he said. Jason looked at me with some wariness. I took another step forward, grabbed Sophia's hand, and said in an exaggerated tone, "Oh my, why are your hands so rough? They're like a man's. Jason doesn't know how to take care of you." As soon as I finished speaking, I fell to the ground on my butt. I hugged my stomach and started crying. Wah, my stomach, my stomach. Will something happen to my baby? I looked at Robert, Bob, who had just returned, one hand covering my stomach and the other reaching out to him. Honey/babe, my stomach. Sophia stared blankly at her hand, looked at Robert, Bob, walking over, and looked at Jason in a panic. No, I didn't push her. She grabbed my hand. Robert, Bob, bent down, put me in his arms, and looked at Jason angrily. Is this how you treat your stepmother? Can an outsider woman just casually bully someone from the Song family? I buried my face in his chest, laughing happily, my body shaking. To outsiders, it looked like I was crying in pain. Jason quickly blocked Sophia behind him, in a protective posture. Dad, Sophia isn't that kind of person. Believe me, how could my stepmother be pregnant with your child so soon after marrying you? This must all be a scheme orchestrated by a stepmother. Sophia is kind-hearted. Shut up. As soon as Robert, Bob, spoke, Jason fell silent. I was picked up by him, and Ashley followed by my side, crying again. Wah, Emmy, why didn't you tell me about such a big thing as your pregnancy in advance? What to do now? Don't die, Emmy. Me. What can save your IQ, my dear sister? Back in my room, I chased Robert, Bob, out. He looked aggrieved when he left. I pretended not to see it. Then I pulled Ashley to my side. Sis, what do you want to do? My sister is a little simple, but living in this environment, she still understands some things. For example, she can see the different treatment Jason gives her and his white moonlight. It's the same thing. But when it's a different person, the handling method will be different. I want a divorce. I smiled and nodded, looking at her firm eyes, with a feeling that my daughter had grown up. Speaking of Jason, Ashley liked him. I don't know when this karma was created. Ashley knew it was him when she met for the arranged marriage. 8 of us couldn't stop her from marrying him. It's just a pity he's not a good man. That night, I started searching for divorce agreements and information on things like adultery during marriage and the man leaving with nothing. I had some plans in my mind, prepared to adjust some things and find a lawyer to take a look. I was just about to save and close it when my hand was grabbed. Robert, Bob, looked at the words divorce agreement on the computer, and his face instantly darkened. Honey/babe, do I need to explain? Divorce agreement? Is it because I didn't satisfy you yesterday, or because that brat Jason made you angry? You have to give me an answer. If I said the first one, I felt like I wouldn't be able to get out of bed today. With great FO. Recite, I chose the second one. The next second, his face looked much better. If it's him, then I'll continue to work hard tonight. This time, it was my turn to have a dark face. That dog man tormented me for most of the night, and then left after I fell asleep. I didn't sleep very well in the second half of the night. I always felt like many people were talking outside. It was noisy. When I woke up, I heard Ashley tell me that Robert, Bob, had dragged Jason out of bed in the second half of the night and gone to the home gym to spar. Jason was unilaterally beaten for half the night. He was only let go after he passed out with a bruised and swollen face. Robert, Bob, also said that when he woke up, he would come back and continue to be beaten. Listening to Ashley tell me this, I couldn't help but sigh in my heart, what a dog. But looking at Ashley like this, she was soft-hearted. After saying a few words to me, she picked up a thermos bucket. It was the soup that the housekeeper had cooked. I didn't need to ask to know what she was going to do. Sure enough, when I arrived at the hospital, I saw Ashley blowing on the soup spoon by spoon and feeding it to Jason's mouth. That tenderness in her eyes was only for the person she loved. Just looking at this atmosphere, Ashley wanted to live a good life. There was no one else in the ward. I didn't show up to spoil the fun. I wandered back home. But it was this thought that almost cost my sister her life. In the afternoon, Ashley was still sharing with me on WeChat about the change in Jason's attitude towards her. He confessed to me. He said that he and Sophia were only thinking about their many years of acquaintance, and that she had encountered trouble, so he took action to help her. I was a little speechless, and only replied with one sentence, wake up from your love brain. Come home early, don't wander around. However, it had been almost an hour, and I still hadn't seen Ashley. I felt strange in my heart, and I received a message. It said that Ashley and Sophia had been kidnapped. I had a bad feeling in my heart. Jason didn't know when he came back. He had a bruised and swollen face and was shouting about raising money to save people. He even wanted to rush out, but I kicked him in the knee. If you want to kill my sister, then keep going. I turned around and quickly contacted my family to raise money. I don't care about others, my sister has to live. But who would have thought that Jason, that grandson, would have raised the money before me and gone directly to the exchange point? I knew it was too late, and I rushed over as quickly as I could, but I saw my sister and Sophia being taken to the edge of a cliff. The kidnapper was wearing a mask, young Master Song, choose one. One is your wife, and one is your white moonlight. One Sophia was so scared that she couldn't even cry. Her lips trembled as she said, save me, Jason, I'm scared. As soon as she finished speaking, she was slapped hard in the face. It was so hard that blood was flowing from the corner of her mouth. Ashley's mouth was gagged, and she looked at Jason. The kidnapper looked at Jason's hesitation and snorted coldly, if you don't choose, I'll help you choose. With that, he was about to throw Sophia off the cliff. I finally felt that something was wrong with this. Everything that was happening was going in a direction that was favorable to Sophia. Jason took a step forward. I choose Sophia. Ashley's eyes were filled with disbelief as she watched Jason take Sophia, who had been pushed over, and hand over the ransom. Jason's eyes flashed with guilt. I'm sorry, Ashley, my honey/babe is bringing the money over soon, you'll be fine. Sophia is pregnant and was slapped, The kidnapper sneered a few times, and looking at his posture, he was preparing to take my sister to the already parked van. Ashley didn't know where she got the strength from, but she bit the kidnapper's hand. The kidnapper was in pain and kicked Ashley out. This kick directly caused Ashley to lose control. The security guard seized the opportunity and swarmed up. I quickly ran to Ashley's side, wanting to pick her up, but I found that her face was pale and her eyes were staring blankly at one place. I followed her gaze down, and without knowing when, the white dress under her had been dyed red. She looked at me blankly and helplessly. Emmy, am I going to die? Ashley had a miscarriage. The baby was already 3 months old, but because Ashley was relatively thin, she hadn't noticed. After returning home, Ashley lay in bed, and Jason sat under the bed, feeding her medicine, but she threw it all up. Ashley looked at him with strange eyes. My sister will give me water and medicine. I don't want to trouble Mr. Song. Jason was stunned. He had never heard Ashley speak to him in such a distant voice. He wanted to hold Ashley's hand, but she shook it off directly. Mr. Song doesn't need to feel guilty. It's your freedom to save whoever you want. My baby is gone. It's just that he didn't have the blessing, so you can't blame others. As for me, I'm fine. You seek advantages and avoid disadvantages, and you choose what is more important to you. There's nothing to criticize. Jason's eyes changed from disbelief to hurt. I was wrong this time. We can have another child if this one is gone. I will be good to you in the future. Ashley smiled indifferently. It doesn't matter. Watching Jason leave, Ashley sent me a message. Emmy, I want a divorce. I had someone prepare the divorce agreement a long time ago. I originally only prepared one for my foster sister, but I felt that Robert, Bob, was a good person, even though he was a dog. It didn't seem right to divorce him directly after using him. I took the divorce agreement, preparing to tell him first. However, as soon as I walked outside the door, I heard two familiar voices. Uncle, we were both wrong this time. I didn't know Ashley was pregnant. I protected Sophia at first because of the shares of Grandpa in her hands, but now Ashley has completely lost confidence in me. What should I do? Jason's voice was a little nervous. He could be considered a resourceful person, and he rarely lost his composure like this. But who did he call uncle? Who is it? I felt a little strange. The next second, Bob's voice came out. You can't let Emmy know about this. If she knows that I asked you to choose Sophia first, she will make trouble with me again. I know how important Ashley is to her. I didn't hear the rest of the words. Instead, I went back to my room and typed another divorce agreement. Dogmen come in pairs. These two had been lying to me from the beginning. Nephew and uncle are father and son. There's something. For a share, they could casually abandon someone important to them. What a joke. In the evening, Bob, returned to the room as usual. But he felt that the atmosphere was not right. He got into bed and hugged me. Why didn't you spend more time with your sister today? I reached out and pushed his hand down, with no expression on my face. Besides accompanying her, my sister needs more psychological guidance. I feel that the best way to resolve a bad relationship experience is a new relationship. What do you think, baby daddy? Bob's expression was a little guilty. I sneered in my heart, but didn't expose him. Do you still remember those romance novels about winning back a lost love that I told you about? Your son is now the scumbag male lead in those books, but my sister and I are not the kind of idiots who will eat grass that we've already spat out. If I knew that my appearance was being used and deceived, then I would leave and never look back, and find someone more handsome and younger. Bob, nodded repeatedly, holding my hand tighter. Don't worry, I won't lie to anyone, especially you. Me, you're the one who lies to me the most, you old rascal. The next day, after he went out, I quickly called my foster father. My sister and I are getting divorced. You need to get the company contract done as soon as possible. After his project is completed, I will send the contract. I want money and freedom. Ashley had just had a miscarriage, and her health was not very good. I directly booked a flight to a nearby city, preparing to take her out for some relaxation. When foster father found out, he specially sent people from his esports company to pick us up, mainly to indulge us. As soon as we left the airport, we saw several very handsome faces. The surrounding men and women were focusing their attention on them, and people were bumping into pillars from time to time. The leader directly arranged for us to have health maintenance, leisure, a series of activities, mainly to spend money. I even saw a familiar man in this group, my senior from college, who was famous for being a cold campus heartthrob. But it turned out that he had also joined foster father's company. Ashley's face had not been very good, and taking a flight had exhausted her a lot. She was swaying, and I was just about to help her when she fell first. But she didn't fall, but was supported by a handsome guy who was heroic. That handsome guy's face didn't look very much like a native, and had a bit of a mixed race feel. According to my observation, this person's eyes seemed to be following my foster sister all the time, landing on her 8 out of 10 times. But I don't believe in love at first sight. I'm too lazy to put my mind on this. We should rest and play. Mentally exhausting things are not something I can do. But according to foster father, the two from the Song family were going crazy looking for us. Let them go crazy. One Ashley is shy and doesn't have much method in doing things. I play more openly. Seeing her being coy, I directly took her hand and dragged her away to play. Her face had finally looked a little better in the past 2 days, so I took her directly to the film set to watch the play that foster father had most recently invested in, and to get some celebrity autographs. I let her watch it herself, but her face looked like she was easy to bully. As soon as I left, she was pestered. I don't know where this coal boss came from, but he came up and asked for her contact information. Which company are you a small star from? What's your name? I'll add you to my cell phone. Ashley was startled and waved her hands repeatedly to refuse. But she was treated as someone who didn't know what was good for her. Aren't all small stars out to sell themselves? I'm adding you to introduce you to resources. Don't be shameless. Ashley's face was already not very good, and she looked even paler after being frightened. She searched for my figure everywhere. Emmy, Emmy. I heard the sound and turned around, and saw this scene. That investor was still not giving up, and even prepared to use force, directly dragging Ashley towards the lounge. You're shameless, right? I'll teach you a lesson today. I quickly walked back, but someone was one step faster than I. The middle-aged man was restrained, his hands were embedded behind his back, and he was yelling ouch, ouch. A security guard noticed the situation, recognized Ashley's identity, was shocked, and quickly contacted the director, and brought the handsy investor down with him. As for what will happen later, that's unknown. Thank you. I looked at the young man's red neck and smiled playfully. Yo-ho, something is going on. We played for less than 2 weeks. Good news came from foster father's side. The cooperation with the Song family had finally expired. At the same time, the same City Express that I had prepared also began to be sent. I sent the 2 divorce agreements that I had prepared. After having a great time, I also helped foster father's esports club get 2 endorsements. Tonight is the celebration banquet. My sister didn't come. I wanted to drink, but the whiskey/vodka was taken away directly. A deep voice came from my ear, you dare to drink when you're a lightweight? It was Dustin who was talking. How did he know? I didn't dare to guess too much. I was worried that I was being sentimental, so I smiled at him. Actually, I can drink a little more now, senior. I'm not me anymore. Dustin didn't say anything more, and his eyes gradually became deep. The people who were toasting around were all as shrewd as demons. Hearing this sentence, they probably knew what it meant, and they all dispersed. I just felt drained and plopped down on the sofa. Honestly, it had been years since I'd seen Dustin, and he hadn't changed much. Time seemed to only enhance him, making him even more mature and charming. I couldn't deny that I'd been captivated by him many times. The consequence of youthful impulsiveness was confessing my feelings in one fell swoop, only to be rejected. Looking back, it wasn't a big deal. It's not embarrassing to like someone these days. I took a sip of juice, and it tasted a little spicy, maybe because of my mood. Why did you run away back then? I was confused. What was he talking about? You disappeared, blocked my contact info. Emmy, you are something. Dustin grabbed the juice glass and downed it in one gulp, then frowned slightly. This is a cocktail. Why are you drinking this? My head was spinning, and my hands moved without thinking. You rejected me, you jerk. Was I supposed to stick around and be humiliated? Say that sarcastic line again. Isn't that just rejecting me? I can take it or leave it. After that, I didn't know what happened. I thought I heard someone sighing. Is it possible that I just wanted you to say it again? I woke up feeling completely dumbfounded. The phrase "I just wanted you to say it again" kept echoing in my mind. No way, no way. Now that I think about it, I do tend to overinterpret what people say. Ashley knocked on T.H. E. door, telling me to come out for breakfast. I washed up quickly and found two unexpected guests at the dining table. Ashley told me that Dustin had brought me back. That explained it. Brent said he wanted to take me to an art exhibit today. Ashley blushed as she spoke. I sighed inwardly. She couldn't hide her feelings. When she was with Jason, she was always frowning. Being away from him for only a few months made her look years younger. Want to come with us? I was about to decline when Dustin spoke up. There's a new arcade that just opened, imported from overseas. Want to check it out? If it involved video games, I was in. Ashley and Brent went to the art exhibit, while I spent the whole day playing games with Dustin. Since I was a newbie, I got completely crushed. I was about to start a new game. People in this country play too many of those garbage games and think they can easily beat the games here. A male voice came from the side. I looked up and sneered. You think everything foreign is better, huh? It's just a game. I bet I could wipe the floor with you even on my first try. The man scoffed. Talk is cheap. Show me what you've got. I glanced back at Dustin and immediately agreed. I wasn't going to pass up the chance to have Dustin train me. Just winning or losing isn't interesting enough. Let's raise the stakes. Whoever loses has to kneel and call the winner daddy. I immediately agreed. Dustin looked at me. There's a punishment for losing, but what if you win? You can do whatever you want. I blurted out. Then someone started a live stream. Whoa, I know that guy playing. And who's he up against? Someone's gonna get seriously hurt. I heard the loser has to kneel and call the winner daddy. Someone's about to embarrass themselves in front of all of us netizens. No one was optimistic about Dustin. As the live stream went on, one classic move after another crushed the loud-mouthed man, sending him to his virtual demise. The onlookers outside were stunned, and the viewers in the live stream were speechless. I gave the man a provocative look. Hurry up, call me daddy. I'll call you a jerk. The man spat and waved his hand, and 2 or 3 young men emerged. They looked like street thugs. Not good. He looked at me, then at Dustin, and said in a cold voice, "These two made me lose face today. After we're done with them, drinks are on me." Dustin pulled me behind him and whispered, "If things get out of hand, just run. I can handle it myself. This time, try to understand and don't overthink it." For the first time, I regretted my impulsiveness. It was just a game. We were supposed to be relaxing, but it turned into this. I pulled out my cell phone to call for help, but someone deliberately bumped into me from behind, knocking it to the ground. When I turned around, I realized that the man had more than just 2 accomplices. Dustin's lip was bleeding from protecting me. He created an opening and pushed me out. But it was no use. I hadn't taken 2 steps before someone grabbed me by the neck. The feeling of not being able to breathe was awful. The more I kicked and struggled, the tighter the person behind me squeezed. Just when I thought I was about to meet my maker, a group of people suddenly rushed in. They pinned the troublemaking thugs to the ground. I sat on the ground, gasping for air, and saw a pair of leather shoes in front of me. I slowly looked up, and it was Robert, Bob. He reached out his hand with the same unchanging smile. "Honey, you've been out playing for too long. It's time to go home." I looked back at Dustin and saw him being helped away by the security guards. Robert, Bob, manually turned my head back, and the stirrings in my heart were doused with cold water. "Honey, I get jealous when you look at other men." "Don't call me honey. We're getting a divorce." I looked him in the eye and told him this very seriously. Bob's eyes darkened. "Is it because of Th? At man just now?" I nodded. "It wasn't before, but it is now." Bob laughed, but without mirth. "You don't think he likes you, do you?" "It doesn't matter. You'll find out when we get back home." It was Dustin. He hired us to stage a scene, a damsel in distress situation. He said, and I quote, "What do you mean a smart rich girl? She's still just a girl blinded by love. My boys and one rescue each, and we can get our hands on her." The man who had been so fierce earlier completely wilted when he saw Robert, Bob. Robert, Bob, seeing that I still didn't believe him, pulled up 2 recordings. I looked at Dustin in disbelief. "So, you set me up?" The cool campus heartthrob's image was completely shattered. He pouted and looked at Robert, Bob, helplessly. "Bro, I just wanted to make some money. Did you have to do me like that?" Fine, I give up, okay? Take your woman back and let me go." Dustin looked at Robert, Bob, with a servile expression I'd never seen before. My life sucks. I just wanted to use this woman to make some money, but she's too naive and rich. I never thought it would turn out like this." I kicked him to the ground and couldn't help but swear, what happened to my rose-colored glasses? So much for not being swayed by money. You're all about the image. I wanted to kick him again, but Robert, Bob, held me back. "Are you still getting a divorce, babe?" I bit his arm. "Yes. You're no better." One an uncle turned dad, the other willing to push his wife away for a little profit. Robert, Bob, chuckled. "But I don't want to." I rolled my eyes at him. Then why was he saying all this? Ashley got back to the song home before me. The power dynamic between her and Jason had reversed. It was the first time I'd seen Jason so cautious. Ashley, on the other hand, was consistently indifferent. "You didn't have to do this. What about your Ms. Perfect now that you've brought me back? Or did she lose her usefulness, and you realized I still have value?" I watched for a while and went back to my room. I scoffed inwardly. It looked like a romance novel about winning back a lost love. I hadn't seen Sophia for a few days. Ashley and I were having a pretty good time. Eating, sleeping, shopping, and ignoring the 2 men. If things continued like this, it wouldn't be so bad. That afternoon, I'd just made a reservation with Sis at a new restaurant to try it out. It was a long drive, so I decided to drive myself. But on the way, a car came crashing into me. My head slammed hard against the steering wheel. When I woke up, I realized that Ashley and I had been kidnapped. Sophia glared at me, which I found strange. This may sound bad, but wasn't my sis her rival? Why was she glaring at me? She walked around me, then pinched my chin hard. "You're not that much prettier than me. Why can Robert, Bob, only see you?" My head was filled with a million question marks. What the heck? She likes Robert, Bob? You like Jason's foster father, so why were you getting so close to Jason? Isn't it because Robert, Bob, only has eyes for you? A million question marks filled my mind. But she explained it to me. "You don't think Robert, Bob, is Jason's foster father, do you? It seems he doesn't like you that much either since he didn't tell you that he's Jason's uncle." Jason's mother was Robert, Bob's older sister, who died during childbirth out of wedlock. He got separated from his family and ended up at Oak Grove Orphanage. After being found more than a decade later, he was sent abroad to study. After he came back, he adopted Jason as his child. I learned a lot from her words. Most familiar of all was the name of the Oak Grove Orphanage. Robert, Bob's existence was surprisingly similar to that of a honey I knew from the Oak Grove Orphanage. "I know him better than you do. So why is he so hung up on you? We're so much more compatible." She stared intently at my face, and I had a bad feeling. None of the men who had kidnapped us with her stopped her. All I saw was a shiny dagger coming towards my face. "Then I'll ruin your face." I instinctively closed my eyes. There was a dripping sound on my face. When I opened my eyes, a large hand appeared in front of me. Sophia was sitting on the ground, clutching her stomach and screaming. Robert, Bob's face was pale. He looked relieved when he saw that I was okay. "It's good you're all right. I didn't expect this crazy woman to attack you." He tapped my forehead with his uninjured hand, full of tenderness. "I'll explain everything when we get back." It turned out that he was the boy I grew up with at the Oak Grove Orphanage. He explained why he hadn't acknowledged me all these years. In a nutshell, internal and external troubles. He could only exist as a benefactor. He wanted to protect her silently, but discovered that she'd been discovered by those Song family relatives. So he went to my foster father, wanting to work with them to have them adopt me. That's how I was chosen in the first place. As for Sophia's sudden madness, it was because he'd legally taken back the shares in her hand. Not only did she and those relatives trying to take over the Song home not get any benefits, but they also ended up with a mountain of debt. That's why they took the desperate measure of kidnapping Ashley and me to threaten Robert, Bob, and Jason. Bob's hand was bandaged, and he moved a little closer to me. Emmy, the more you and your sis knew back then, the worse it would be for you. I was also worried about your temper. I didn't say anything, so he moved a little closer and continued, Jason isn't my child. I won't interfere in what happens between him and your sis anymore, okay? I kept looking at him. He thought about it, gritted his teeth, grabbed a dinner roll from the table, and knelt on the ground. No matter what, I've explained everything to you now. This kind of thing won't happen again. I was wrong, babe. Only then did I finally soften. I leaned down and kissed him on the forehead. As for Sis and Jason, they still had a long way to go. Whether they ended up together or not was all up to fate.